I am filming downstairs today because next door, if you watched the last video, you'll know that next door are getting work done. So my room is quite noisy, and also I'm looking after my puppos today. So I'm giving them a bit of company. So if you hear them or next door, I'm really sorry. But let's get on with this video. Hi guys, I'm Lily and I have autism. Specifically, I have autistic spectrum disorder. And I'm going to be talking through things I can't stand when people tell me when I tell them I'm autistic. I hope I don't offend anyone, but it's just kind of more of a jokey sort of video just to kind of say what really bugs me and maybe just keep an eye out when you meet someone autistic, maybe not to say certain things. The one that really, really, really gets against my grain is everyone is autistic. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, so I can't prove that or not, but that's like saying, you know, everyone has eyes, but some people need glasses, some people don't. It's one of those really annoying things. I personally don't believe everyone has autism. It really just gets against my grain, and when people kind of say that to you, like, oh, everyone has autism, it's sort of like, well, your problem doesn't matter. I believe that autism is, yes, it has a lot of difficulties, and I'm lucky to have it quite mildly compared to some people. But also it has brilliant traits as well. If you've seen Rain Man and stuff like that, you can see that people can be very clever at certain things and you can get photographic memories. I'm very good with numbers and memory, so there are traits that are enjoyable too, but you know, mostly it is, you know, a disorder that isn't great. You know, you're not as great socially, you know, everyone's a little bit different on the spectrum, but it does bug me when people are like, oh, we're all autistic. It's like, okay, like what? Like, have you been diagnosed with it then? Because clearly you want attention back for that. It just bugs me. These I heard in school, and this one I heard a lot during sort of secondary school. And you're not autistic, you're dyslexic. So with my autism, I got delayed in speech and reading and writing, and I'm still not brilliant at reading and writing. So yes, if you compare my reading and writing skills to someone that is dyslexic, it can be very similar, but there are traits of stuff that is different. I think the way we learn how to read and write is slightly different. I read and write on memory, which I know is ridiculous, but when people are trying to sound it out and stuff like that, I don't read and write like that. I do it on memory if someone told me that. I think dyslexic is a little bit different. So, you know, I can see what people mean, but to go, you aren't autistic, you are dyslexic. Are you a doctor? Because I got diagnosed by someone that is head of autism. Also, what about all these other traits that add up to autism? You know, it really bugs me. This one I heard when I was younger. Not so much now. I think there's a lot more awareness with autism and stuff like that. But I did get told, and people have commented being like, girls don't have autism. I feel like a doctor would have known I'm a woman before going through with that. Yes, back in the day, it was sort of known that boys are more likely to be autistic rather than girls. That has now changed. I think, I don't know why, but maybe girls don't show the signs as much, or you kind of put it down to shyness or something like that, where boys show off. There is an increasing number of girls being diagnosed with autism. So it's sort of becoming more, so I think if it's sort of like 40-60% rather than where it was a lot lower beforehand. And actually growing up, I remember when my mum got books and stuff explaining autism and stuff like that, they were all like, my brother's got autism, blah, blah, blah. There was never any girls. And the first time I met a girl with autism was when I was actually 18 cosplaying. And that was a really like eye-opening moment, because I felt very alone growing up because I didn't know anyone, where actually now I've talked to people about it and been more open. I found out other people have been autistic and stuff like that. Girls can have autism, they can also have Asperger's. Yet again, it is just that sort of thing that boys were more likely to get diagnosed. I don't know why, but... Another is, oh, you don't look autistic. What does autism look like? Typically, when, like I said earlier, you get books that are like my brother, blah, 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 it is stereotypically you see white boy. And no offence to white guys, but I think either they get diagnosed first, or I don't know, you see the signs more, or, you know, it's one of those issues around the world. So I think when people say autistic, they stereotypically think male and also probably more white. You know, that's one of those things. It's not, it can hit anyone. I personally think it's genetic, but they haven't fully proved that yet, so it's not fact, but I do believe that it's genetic, because people I've talked to, they've had either relatives that are autistic, or, you know, a parent or something, so I feel like it's very likely that it is something genetic. I don't get offended by the next statement, but people do go, oh, I would never have guessed, or you don't act autistic. I do understand that, like, I'm quite outgoing and quite confident. If you looked at me as a young child, then you probably would have been able to tell. But luckily, because, and I do believe getting your kids diagnosed and stuff like that is the best route to go, because I've seen people that have never got diagnosed and their traits have just continued into adulthood and haven't helped, where I have learned how to pick up emotions, you know, talk about my feelings, you know, how to be socially, you know, socially out there, I don't know. I basically learned my traits, which ones were good and which ones were bad, and I remember having to learn how to do eye contact. There's a lot I've had to learn to sort of adapt with the sort of normal society. Some things I'm still not great at. I still aren't brilliant at reading and writing. My speech it's brilliant compared to what it used to be, but there's certain words I still can't say, which I think is pretty normal. Yeah, so I understand that one, and especially when I was a hairdresser, you don't stereotypically think of an autistic person being like that, or a YouTuber really, which I kind of like, because when people have come in and gone, oh, my child's just been diagnosed, it's not a death sentence. It's not, oh, your life is ruined now. Yes, you'll probably have hard times, but most people do. And you can live just a normal, happy life with it. Another was back in the day, more 90s. It's not so much now. I have still seen it on the internet floating around, and it pees me off because scientists have disproved it so many bloody times, and it still comes back. The MMR vaccination. You get even taught it in school that it was the most worst publishing mistake ever. Oh, it pees me off. Yet again, we don't really fully know what causes autism, but I 100% believe that you are born with it. You do not develop it, let alone, some people say there is a high risk if you're an older parent, blah, 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 blah. There's lots to do with that. Yet again, they do not know. I've known people that are autistic, have young parents. Yet again, I personally believe it is a genetical thing. No, I have had the MMR, but the only reason that people thought that is you got the MMR and then the symptoms come out, because you have it at an age where you're starting to learn how to talk. Well, then I've had a speech problem. I don't believe a vaccination could change your brain that much. I think it's idiotic. I really get annoyed with that sort of thing, and it's like many things with when you publicise something and it's wrong. This isn't so much on autism that bugs me, but I do get it where when I'm reading and writing, I'm sure dyslexic people find this and stuff like that. I cannot stand when I'm like, I've plucked up the courage to ask someone to help me to spell something. I find it very embarrassing to do that, especially in school and in adulthood, because you're meant to be seen as, like, especially in a workplace, clever and stuff like that, and then you're like, I can't spell, and normally it's simple words. I can spell, like, I can't spell long words, but I used to find in school the longer words I was better at than the short random words. In English, it's not easy. So you plucked up the courage to ask someone, and they just do this. They don't spell it out for you, they sound it out for you. Now, I don't know if you heard me the first time, I knew how to say it, not spell it. And I'm trying to think of a word now. Whippet, because I'm near Whippets. I know how to spell Whippet. But it's like whip it. I knew how to bloody say it. I didn't know how to spell it, love. And you're like, ask again, they continue doing that, and it's just like, please, just spell it out. Or, similarly with my speech, I cannot stand when I can't say something and you've understood what I've said and then you go to correct me and I can't say it again. And then I just feel belittled and made fun of, and it pees me off a lot. I know some people are trying to help, but sometimes you've just gotta understand that you're defeated in that way and you can't say certain words like everyone else. And I can't stand it when they keep trying. They're like, no, you're not getting it. Yes, I know, I had a speech problem. You understood what I was saying. I know I'm not getting it right. I don't actually care at this point. If I cannot get that sound out of my mouth, I don't care. Because you understood what I said. And most of my words, majority of them, work fine. So please, give it up. If I ask for help, I will then like some help. But if you're just trying to force me into saying a word and laughing that I can't say it, please don't. I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I hope you didn't find it too ranty or anything. Just keep an eye out when you're with an autistic person, not to sort of lower what they have or anything. It's just normal. It's like, it's just something, I always believe you're born with it, you die with it. That is who I am. I'm autistic, but I'm Lily. First of all, I'm Lily, I'm autistic, I've got a few other different things. I'm right-handed. It's like being right-handed. I'm right-handed. So what? You know, you could be left-handed. It's just one of those things. Yes, I might need extra help and stuff like that, but that's okay. You know, that's how it is. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next Thursday. Thursday is my upload schedule, not Wednesday. I will see you next Thursday, and I hope you have a fabulous week.